Welcome to Pesto Comics audio and video edition. This is the entry for September 17th, 2025. Farewell, summer. Looking back at a season full of concerts. Welcome back. Majority of the posts I do on here are about making comics, writing, or crowdfunding. I'm either working on something, breaking down how a recent project went, or launching something new. Every once in a while, I share a personal story to give you a sense of who I am and where my influences come from. Today, it's neither personal nor comic related, at least not directly. I enjoy a good concert. I'll go to as many as I can. When people say, I'll listen to anything, I find few actually mean it. I think I'm pretty close to that though, and you'll see that with where I've been this year. We'll be back on track next week with a proper comic and crowdfunding post as we finally do the delayed postmortem for From Parts Unknown number 4. But for now, let's have some fun talking concerts and music. And real quick, you may notice that I'm wearing a different shirt. That's because I forgot to add it to the video, but if you're listening, none of this makes sense to you. But what I'm here to say is, I just recorded 2 episodes of the graphic novel Apostle with Mark, and it goes over the whole history of Pesto Comics. We go book by book by book. I'm on my 10th campaign right now with Naked Kaiju Woman 2, and we go through all of it from the very first thing I did with Brad's all the way to the end. That first episode cuts right at Big Smoke Pulp Volume 1, but there's 2 episodes, so listen. Starting this Monday, you can listen to it on all your podcasting services, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. I'll have a link in the Substack if you look at the Substack, or in the description of this YouTube video right at the bottom. You can listen to the first episode right now, and the second part will be out next Monday. Definitely give it a listen. It was a great conversation. Live on Kickstarter. Naked Kaiju Woman number 2 is live on Kickstarter until October 3rd. It's already on pace to be the best performing Pesto Comics campaign ever. You can ensure that happens by backing it today. Plus, there are a number of great bundles available for back issues and collector sets. You don't want to miss out, but if you do, there's more to come. Prelaunch Rodeo. October 29th, we have the next edition of Big Smoke Pulp, with Big Smoke Pulp Volume 2 launching on October 29th. Then, next year, on Backer Kit January 7th, we launch Switch Restart, a sci-fi thriller novella. And then in April, we have the Backlot Babylon series. In this campaign, we will have the first 3 books of this series, including Backlot Babylon, The Price of Fame, and Cult of Glamour, all with our hero, Leo Lucas, as he digs into the mysteries of 1920s Hollywood. And then live on Kindle Unlimited, Big Smoke Pulp is available from now through October. That's 40 incredible stories from 40 excellent authors, including yours truly. And now, let's get to the main story. I mentioned off the top that my tastes are all over the place, but I gravitate to loud, bombastic music of any genre. I'm a fan of a lot of Canadian bands, along with some of the biggest international artists. Sometimes I go to a concert even if I'm not a huge fan. I just like live music. I got the year started in February with the Sam Roberts Band. That was February 22nd at the Old G Stage in Niagara Falls, Ontario. This would be my 7th time seeing Sam Roberts Band. I've seen them all over Ontario, including in a small private show that we won tickets for from Indie 88. The band puts on a great show no matter where you find them, but this was the most removed I've felt at one of their concerts. Metallica, April 24th and 26th at Rogers Centre in Toronto. This was my 2nd time seeing Metallica. It was a 2-night show, but it's technically 1 show, so I'm counting it as only the 2nd time. I've been waiting for this concert for a couple of years. I actually had tickets to see the tour in Detroit at Ford Field, but neglected to book a hotel. Rather than figure that out, I sold the tickets off and regretted it nearly immediately. They still have the ability to blow the roof off the building, even if they needed to take a few more breaks than they did the first time I saw them with the Death Magnetic tour years ago. Limp Bizkit, April 26th at the Rogers Centre in Toronto. I didn't rush out to see Pantera open for Metallica on night 1, but I did make a point to see Limp Bizkit for the first time on the 2nd night. I hate to say it, but it was a little disappointing. Fred Durst did a lot of the, now you guys sing, rather than just performing, which is a pet peeve of mine. Bush, May 4th, Meridian Centre, St. Catharines, Ontario. I have many favorite bands, but Bush has a special place in that category. They were my first favorite band. The first CD I bought was out of peer pressure. It was Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. Yes, I'm Canadian. I liked it, but I don't exactly know why I got it. The first CD I got because I really wanted it was 16 Stone by Bush X. The X was specific to us in Canada. At the time, there was already a Bush here, and it took them years to wrestle the trademark away. All that said, this was only my third time seeing Bush live. They put on an incredible show, and I want to get to as many of them as I can before they decide to hang it up. Even though Gavin Rossdale is in his senior years, he sure doesn't look like it, so there's still plenty of time. Sam Roberts Band, June 6th, Budweiser Stage in Toronto. This is where concert season kicked into high gear, as I ended up going to 4 concerts in 2 weeks during this stretch. No better band to kick it off with than my 8th time seeing the Sam Roberts Band. Shockingly, this is the last time we'd see them in 2025, but I've already got my tickets to their show in Brampton in February 2026. Metric, June 6th, Budweiser Stage. Metric was the headline for this concert with Sam Roberts Band. Much like the first time I seen them with my wife, she only cares for who opened for them. And I was left alone as she didn't bother sticking around. I think she's missing out, but I have no qualms about going to concerts solo, and this certainly wouldn't have been the last time. Halsey, June 10th, Budweiser Stage, Toronto. This was my second time seeing Halsey at the same venue, but the first time was more of a traditional concert. Nothing flashy, just some background video on a screen. For this concert, it was much more high production value for half of the show. The second part turned into a rock concert with guitar riff versions of her songs. It was mildly disappointing. Along with Sam Roberts Band, I've secured tickets for Halsey's next stop in Toronto in January for what I hope is a more traditional show. Ubiquitous Synergy Seeker, USS. June 11th, The Concert Hall in Toronto, Ontario. The first time I saw USS live was at the Canadian National Exhibition for free. My wife dragged me out to see them for the sound check. I loved that sound check so much that I came back for the concert that night. I was actually at the CNE for a soccer game at BMO Field. I swung by after, rather than just killing time. I absolutely loved the show. So much so that I think I can say I'm a bigger fan of USS than my wife is. It's her fault. 3 years ago, we went to what was deemed their final show. I was very disappointed that this new band that I've fallen for was hanging it up. It didn't last. This year, they came back for my third concert with them, and it was as excellent a show as ever. I'm looking forward to seeing them again soon. Volbeat, June 19th, Budweiser Stage, Toronto. The first time I saw Volbeat was opening for Metallica. This second time, they were opening for 3 Days Grace. That's only notable because everywhere else on the tour, 3 Days Grace opens for Volbeat. But in their hometown, after lead singer Adam Gonti's return after leaving the band a decade ago, Volbeat became the opener. That said, Volbeat put on a great show yet again. They have a pretty good new album, which the concert stuck to most of the time when they weren't playing the hits. 3 Days Grace, June 19th, Budweiser Stage, Toronto. When I was in college, 3 Days Grace was my band. Being a film school, one of my teachers directed their music videos. It was for their song Home. I had their first album on repeat. After many years, I finally got to see them live in a proper venue. This was my second time, but the first barely counts. They were touring around Toronto in the back of a truck, and we caught them for a mini set in front of City Hall. This was a much more proper show, and I loved it. BBmak, June 29th, Casino Rama, Ontario. I have my fandoms, but so does my wife. BBmak is her band. Her email when she was a kid was BBmak Girl or something like that. Believe it or not, this was my second time seeing them. They put on a pretty good show. I have a few songs I've favorited, and they haven't missed a step, even if they're clearly much older gentlemen than they were in the early aughts. Blackpink, July 23rd, Rogers Stadium, Toronto. I am always searching through Ticketmaster, StubHub, SeatGeek, and anything else I could find for good deals to concerts. I've been listening to Blackpink member Lisa's new album all summer. We watched her and Jennie's performances at Coachella on YouTube, so when a deal popped up to see them live for the first time, we jumped at it. Like any K-pop artist, they put on a great show, but it helps that 3 out of the 4 members also speak English. Unlike a Western artist show, they are the only act, and they'll take a break while they chat with the crowd. This was a chore with BTS, as they didn't have much English to lean on. The 2.5 hours flew by for us in our seats, but I'm always impressed by their stamina to do that whole show. Our Lady Peace, July 26th, Darien Lake Amphitheater, Darien Center, New York. Our Lady Peace actually had a headlining stop in Toronto just 2 days before they opened for Live and Collective Soul just outside of Buffalo. I was lucky to have missed it, as the Budweiser stage got rained out and the concert was delayed for well over an hour. Instead, I got to see them from my comfy seat. It wasn't a full show, but I got to see the hits for my first time seeing OLP. Live, July 26th, Darien Lake Amphitheater. Live is another band that is more my wife's taste than mine. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy their show, and this was my second time seeing them. The first time they were just playing one of their albums from front to back. This was more of the hits, so I had a much better time. However, getting home was a chore. If you're ever going to Darien Lake for a concert, pack your patience. Texas King, August 18th, C&E Bandshell, Toronto. The C&E is a harbinger of the end of summer. I hate hearing the ads for it, as it means winter is coming fast. The good news is that they put on a few good shows every year that are free with admission. The first time I saw Texas King was opening for Sam Roberts' band. They sound like a Canadian version of Kings of Leon. It was great to see them for the second time here. Given I no longer have a use for CDs, but I wanted to support them, I bought a slick-looking t-shirt instead. Moist, August 18th, C&E Bandshell, Toronto. Much like Our Lady Peace, Moist is a band I never thought I'd see live, and for free no less. They just started touring again, but they could have fooled me. Being there brought me back to listening to Edge 102 in my room while I was still in elementary school. It was a good time. Joey, August 22nd, Celebration Square in Mississauga, Ontario. If Moist brought me back to elementary school, Joey brought me back to high school. This was my first time seeing him live. It was a surprisingly good show. I had low expectations given the community fair type setting with ETEL Fest. It was a good year for going through old CDs. 98 Degrees, August 23rd, C&E Bandshell, Toronto. I know one song from 98 Degrees. It's Give Me Just One Night, Una Noche. Of course, it was the last song they played. They're a lot slower than I tend to go for, but it was a free concert, and I was already there for the Argos game, so I couldn't say no. I have no regrets. Korn, August 28th, MetLife Stadium, New York City. Getting to see Korn for the first time helped me fill out my new metal bingo card this summer. They put on an excellent show, one that required a special trip as they would only open for System of a Down in New York. System of a Down, MetLife Stadium, New York City. I will see System of a Down every possible opportunity I can. They come around so infrequently that it's an event every single time, and this one was like no other. I've seen them in a small arena in Hamilton, Ontario, and at Budweiser Stage, but seeing them fill MetLife Stadium was something else. Dua Lipa, September 1st and 2nd, Scotiabank Arena, Toronto, Ontario. Unlike Metallica, where the show was split up into a two-nighter, we actually just went to Dua Lipa twice. Much like Halsey earlier in the year, I was keeping an eye out for tickets. We had such an amazing first time that we went again for a second. I was that blown away. We made sure to get tickets with a totally different view so we could really take in the whole show, and it did not disappoint. This is a must-do show for me next time she's in town. And a side note, apparently I was in the top 1% of streamers for her song Training Season last year, which opened up the show. And System of a Down, September 3rd and 5th, Rogers Stadium, Toronto. Rounding out the week of concerts, we joined the last stop of System's mini tour in my hometown. The first night was unfortunately imperfect, as we got stuck in the middle of a group of the most annoying concert goers who insisted on having a conversation, yelling over the music, literally through the entire show. It's a metal show. Be wild. Have fun. But if you're just going to have a chat, save the ticket price and go get a beer somewhere, my goodness. Night 2 ended up being the best of the bunch. 5th time's the charm, I guess. I don't know when we'll see them again, but it was the perfect send-off to the summer concert season. Now, allow me a bad segue. This clearly has nothing to do with comics or writing, and that's kind of the point. You can't just force yourself to work on things incessantly. You need time to recharge, and that doesn't just mean getting enough sleep. You have to recharge your creative batteries. For me, that's taking in a good show where I'm thinking of nothing else but being present. I play hockey a couple times a week, and that does the same. I'm too tired to think about how the campaign is going, if I need to stop or start an ad set, or if everyone has answered their surveys. I'm just living. If you're not doing that, why are you doing any of it, right? Until next time. Coming up on the Substack, Wednesday, September 24th, we have The Postmortem for From Parts Unknown number 4, an in-depth look at the 9th Pesto Comics campaign. And then on Saturday, September 29th, a paid post, Cutting Through, Do We Just Give Up and All Do NSFW? And on Wednesday, October 1st, Con Journal, Word on the Street, a new crowd in a familiar space. And October 8th, 3 phases of crowdfunding, do them all or perish. And here's where you can find me in the coming weeks. So, as I mentioned, Word on the Street is happening September 27th and 28th at David Pico Square. I will be in booth E1. That is right on the grass in David Pico Square. I'll be with all the other comics people. They put us all in a little pocket, so it'll be really cool. Even though it's a book festival, find me with the comics folks. Unsurprisingly, I'm at E1. If you go to the website, I actually have a profile section that you can see a little write-up about just me, which is wonderful. So E1, find me there. I didn't get a table at the Mississauga Comic Expo. However, Roberto Villacava is a wonderful guy. He's going to spare me a chair. So I'll be joining him, manning his table, but also have some of my stuff there to make it all worthwhile. And if you want to come find me, now that you know what I look like with this wonderful video, assuming you're not listening, you can find me at New York Comic Con. I will be there only for Saturday and Sunday, so October 11th and 12th, but you can find me in New York City at New York Comic Con for that show. And what I'm waiting for, I am still on the wait list for Toronto Comic Con, Calgary Expo, and Fan Expo Canada. And now you can also add me on the wait list for Brantford Comic Con as well. And on the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. If you're watching this and you're watching it on YouTube, you're already in the right place. Click the link that's somewhere above me here and go check out the latest episode of the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. We have our second part of our conversation with Luke Herr. That's episode 63. You can find that on YouTube or anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of those wonderful places. And with that, I want to thank you for listening or watching if you're watching. The video is something, again, I'm trying. It's something new. I did one on Saturday for the paid post, but if you're not a paid subscriber, which most of you aren't, which is okay, I get it. I totally understand. If you're not, you got only a small snippet of what the video is. Today was a more robust, full-length video, and it was a little bit longer because I really went through the gamut of all of the concerts that I went to this year, and it was quite a bit. The reason I started with this one is because I just naturally have a lot of B-roll. I have all the photos and the videos I take. I try not to be that guy. I don't take too many videos. I usually do just 1 or 2 videos of one of the songs I like, just so I can get a sense and a feel for it. And I've also kind of had this post in mind for months. So I knew I was doing it, so I'm like, hey, maybe by then I'll be ready to do video. And now that we're here, I'm like, screw it, I'm going to do video. We're going to do it. So if you just listened, you missed out on some cool B-roll. Something that won't be on the actual post. I'm going to put mostly photos on the post, but if you want to see the video without the audio, because then YouTube will take it down, but if you want to see the video with me talking over it, the video is a place to be. For those of you that watched, it does mean a ton for you doing so. I really appreciate it. I did mention to the paid subscribers on Saturday, and I'll mention it to you as well. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think about the videos. I've been thinking about this YouTube thing for a while, and I keep saying YouTube. If you're watching this on Substack, that's the place where it's going first. But the goal is to simulcast, I guess, for lack of a better term, and have this all on YouTube to try to grow my base over there to reach the people that aren't on Substack. A lot of people don't even know that Substack has video, and I don't want to miss out on those people because I'm sticking to a platform that they're not familiar with or they're not comfortable with. So here we are. So this is me trying to find them where they're at, and that's what we're doing. So thank you for watching. It really does mean a ton. As far as the summer has gone, yeah, I go to a lot of concerts. There's not much more to say there outside of everything I said. And it really is a release, right? Like, that's all it is. It's one of the few times where I can go somewhere and not think about anything else. I do go to a lot of movies, like in the theater. I find that gives me the same effect when I'm focused on the screen and I can't think of anything else but the screen in front of me. It's one thing I do think we have definitely lost with like the streaming culture and watching everything at home, that's become the preferred method. It's just not the same experience. And maybe that makes me an old fart for thinking so. It certainly does, but I'm totally okay with that. I just find I get a lot more out of it if I'm focused and I'm paying attention to what's happening on the screen. I'm not thinking about anything else. And I'm not letting everything distract me or my cat jump all over me or I'm checking my phone or I get a snack or I take a washroom break. I will suffer through the film, which is why these 3-hour films, I think, are also a problem, but that's a whole different thing to talk about. But yeah, so if it's not a concert or a film, I have a hard time really sitting and focusing on things. You know, I read a ton of comics, I read a ton of novels, but even then I find I always set it aside because my brain starts going off in a tangent. I have to train myself to focus. So when I'm in a setting that all I can do is focus, I find that's the most relaxing. Like reading is, I wouldn't say it's a chore, it's entertainment, I'm enjoying it, or I'm learning something, but it still takes mental effort for me to read. It takes some more energy away, where I find doing these other tasks is how I recharge. Even though I'm actively recharging, it's not just sleep or rest, it's me doing something that isn't the thing or my day job, right? Like it's just me chilling. And that you need that in life. You need that so that you can do all the other things. I find that when I get to go to a few concerts and I come back and I sit in front of the computer, I am energized. I am ready to write or letter or do whatever I'm doing or get a campaign together. And it's only when I have those rest periods that I could come back. It does eventually drain on you the more you do. And if you're trying to hit the output that I've been hitting and do all these new things and do these videos and do all this extra stuff, you do find, it takes away from you over time. So it's really important to do something that kind of shuts your brain off, right? For me, it's concerts, it's movies, it's hockey. When I'm at hockey, I can't think about anything else. I'm so exhausted. I'm barely standing on my feet for the time that I'm on the ice, that all I could think about is this guy has the puck, I have to get it off him. I play defense. So it's very important that all I do is focus on that. I can't be thinking about what's going on with my campaign or something I have at work or something I have to do on the weekend. I think about what's in front of me. And that is the most freeing thing I could possibly do. So I highly recommend it. If you want to do this, yes, you should focus and you should work hard. You should do as much as you can and get as much out as you can. But you also need to think about the other side of it and make sure you have not just the physical energy and the rest, but you also have the mental space and the creativity left to go do that thing you want to do. So very important. And that's why I always prioritize doing these silly things that I always do. It also does help that me and my wife were dinks. We don't have children. We have nobody really outside of the cat depending on us. So if a concert ticket pops up, we live 15 minutes out of Toronto. So it's very easy for us to see a deal on a concert ticket and be on the train into the downtown core 15 minutes later. But again, it's the idea of having something that takes you away from the day-to-day slog of doing your creative work or your desk job or whatever you're doing. But it's just doing something different and taking your mind out of the concerns of that. And it has to be something that takes your focus entirely. So maybe for you, that's playing with your kids or doing whatever as well. Whatever is for you is the thing. It doesn't have to be concerts or that, but very important that you have that in your life because it will make all the rest of it so much better for doing so. I know you didn't come here for a lecture or a sermon, but I feel like I at least owed you that, given that this had nothing to do with comics, nothing to do with writing or crowdfunding. So I hope that helps tie it in a little bit and why I even shared it with you. This was my break via the newsletter to just not talk about comics for once. I love talking about, I could do it all day. I could talk about writing and comics all day, and I pretty much do, but sometimes I need a break. So I'm hoping that this was also a break for you, and you kind of see how it all ties in. I hope that you appreciate that. Not enough people comment, so it'd be great if you did. And please let me know what you think about the video. Ignore the background. I'm working on it. I have my couple trinkets that I put back there for the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast, but this is not the permanent background. The whole goal of this exercise was just to start getting videos out and start getting used to not just recording the podcast leaning back like I normally do, and I'll have the mic pulled back and I'll kind of be leaning back and reading. I wanted to make it more, let's do the video side of this. Let's practice and let's make it work. So it's ugly. The background is not where I want it to be, but this is phase one of many. My goal is to get my studio set up properly. And by studio, I mean basement office. The goal is to rotate this whole space, have the nice wall behind me. I have the cool LED lights that do the different colors. I have a nice bookcase so I can showcase all the Pesto comic stuff and random stuff from my collection over there. I even have these letters, the letters you get for the signs on the side of the road saying there's like, oh, garage sale here or whatever. I have those set up so that I can have that in the background. So we'll see how the set comes together, but I don't know when that's going to happen. And I got tired of waiting. My goal was to be doing this way back in like May and then August. And now it's September. I said, you know what? We're just going to do it regardless of what the background looks like. And frankly, if you've seen the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast, you've seen the mess behind me. So I'm going to work on making it better slowly. Eventually, maybe I'll make this look a lot more professional. But for now, it is what it is. I hope you at least enjoyed what I've put together this week. Next week, we do something a little more traditional with the postmortem for From Parts Unknown #4. That one, I have a lot of slides and a lot of things to go through, a lot of data. It's very data heavy, but if you're a nerd like me, you'll really enjoy that because I'm pretty transparent about how all of it comes together and how I felt about it and the disappointment and the good and the bad and all that stuff. So please join me next week. We'll have another video. And then we'll talk about everything that went with the campaign for From Parts Unknown #4 and From Parts Unknown as a whole. So it'll be a little different. This is the first ending to a series from Pesto Comics. So I'll have a lot of insight and things to say about that. So that's next week. But that's it for this week. I want to thank you for being here and indulging me as I just recounted on all the concerts I went to this year. I hope it was fun. I hope you saw a lot of cool video in that. And if you're listening, do not fret. I will always make sure that one, the audio is available, and two, that it's still a very audio forward experience. I'm going to do my best not to just point to things on screen that you aren't seeing because you're washing the dishes or driving somewhere listening to me. The goal is to still make this something that you can enjoy without having to look at me. But if you do, you get something just a little more, very similar to if you only read the newsletter, but you listen to it and you get this postscript, right? The same idea. If you're watching, you get just a smidge more than those who are only listening, but you're still going to get more than the people who only scroll by the newsletter in their email and don't fully read it and all that. I totally get it. When you're getting hundreds of newsletters, you can only read so much. So this is why I offer all these other ways to experience everything Pesto Comics. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you next one. Have a good one. Thank you very much.